Hello and welcome back. You join me at Bergen. It's evening, beautiful sunset, and we've got this short flight from Bergen to Edinburgh, and we'll be flying on the Vatsim network. And as previously, be a full tutorial. And you can see it's fairly quiet. We have got ATIS online, but we do have control. So as we take off, we will probably get passed straight over to control, who will then guide us out of Norwegian airspace as we then cross the North Sea into Edinburgh. Flight time of around about 1 hour 16 minutes, so it's just a short hop. And as ever, we'll go through all the steps to get you up in the air and get you flying. So without further ado, let's go. Oh, we've got one there, look, just going off. Let's get in the cockpit and then let's get set up. So here we go. First things first, let's get the aircraft turned on. And the way we do that is head up to the panel up here, battery 1, give it a click, battery 2, wait for the dings. There we go. And now we can turn on the external power, which is here. Let's turn on the APU ready because we're going to need it. Start the engines, give it 3. Let's kick the APU on. As we've said before, beauty of the A320 or any Airbus, in fact, any white light, you just turn them off. So let's get them turned. It's actually turning them on, but you're turning the lights off. I'm going to turn the beacon off so we know we're getting ready to go. Let's turn the seatbelt sign, no smoking sign on the doors. And the idea is we've got to align these. This is what tells the aircraft where it is at any one point. So we must make sure we turn them on in order. So 1 first to nav, number 2 to nav, number 3 to nav. And that's it for now. Other than I am going to just turn the light up because we're probably going to have dark light as we get across. Okay, that's done for now. Let's turn the lights on the PFD, lights on the ND. I'm going to do both sides because I do tend to use both displays. I just set them slightly differently just to help me get down. Okay, so back we go. MCDU, first of all, ECAM settings up. And again, I've been using SimBrief to plan. SimBrief, it's free, simbrief.com. Put in the details and you'll get your official flight plan, which you can connect to the A320. Just makes life a lot easier and a bit quicker. So ATSU, AOC menu, init press, init data request. What that's going to do is pull the data in from SimBrief. There we go. Echo November, Bravo Romeo, Bergen, Flesland, Echo Golf Papa Hotel, which of course is Edinburgh. Everything's there. Let's go to the init page. Again, let's just request the information. All pulled in from SimBrief. Now there is another page. So 0 fuel weight, again, just comes straight off your SimBrief. 60.0, and we'll go / and center of fuel, 0 fuel weight, center of gravity. Let's go with 25. Again, there are calculators you can use online, but this seems to work for me. Block fuel. So it says 5.66, but I'm going to add a bit more. I'm going to go 5. Let's have a look, 5.9, just so we know we've got enough to get to our alternate. Okay, so we've done that. We'll come back to this performance page in a second. Let's go to our flight plan. Now, again, we must do our standard instrument departure. Now we are departing on the EPOT 2 Delta SID today, so click the line, departure. It's runway 35 in use, and again Epot 2 Delta, and insert. And there you go, it's put on all of our waypoints on our standard instrument departure. Now we can do the same for Edinburgh, but it's an arrival, so it's our star, and it's ILS 06, so the runway in use. Although I am going to check this because the other day, oh interesting, Edinburgh radars actually come online as well, so runway in use 06, so ILS 06. Chances are we're going to get vectored in here. I don't like it. Let's have a look. The star we're going to use is the PTH1 Golf. And we'll insert and go back to the flight plan, and we should find, we just got to make sure there is no discontinuities. So there's Perth, Grice, decelerate, steerer, there's our discontinuity. Let's just clear that. So just all you do to do that is clear in the scratch pad, and then the line next to the discontinuity. So we're going direct from Grice to steerer decelerating into Charlie 106. We'll take a look at that in a second on the MCDU. Right, so let's have a look now. So we turn this knob here. What we're going to do, you can see on the arc, it's got arc, which is what you normally have it set to. I'm going to go to plan, and that's our route. And if I just come back a little bit, this is really hard for you guys to see, I appreciate that, but I'll just scroll through. This is our route crossing the North Sea. Glasgow, Asnud. Here we are on the start of the star, steerer down, oh yeah, and round. That's fine, straight in, absolutely straight in. We're probably going to get vectored anyway if approach is still on, but it works. That's fine. I shall take that. Okay, I've just still got 6 minutes for the IRS to align, so while we're waiting, let's go to the pad. So while the fly pad's loading up, what we're going to do is we're just going to pull our information from SimBrief. So there you go, pulled it all in from our plan. Tells you our pressure today is 10018. Let's go and do that before we do anything else. So I can change between HG or hectopascals, so mercury or hectopascals, and for today we want it in hectopascals, is that right? Yep, 1018. So what we do is we just change that to 1018. That's now set, and let's go to fuel. So if you click the clipboard, you get your overview, but you also get your OFP, which is your official flight plan pulled in from SimBrief. If you connect, you just do that in the settings down here and just put your SimBrief username in. It's that simple. It'll pull it through. Go to fuel. Now, what did we say? 6 tons. Now let's put 6,000 kgs in there and then fuel it. I'm just going to double check that. I can't even remember what I put. Block fuel 5.9. Okay, so that's not a problem. You come back in, you can take fuel out 5,900. It's just defuels. It's done. Okay, back down to here now. I mentioned in my last video a tool I've been using, a really clever little tool called SimSmart. It's EasyJet Flight Sim Pilot has actually put this together, and what it does is it will give us all of the information that we need for our performance page. So, easy way to do, airport code for Flesland Bergen is Echo November Bravo Romeo. Click OK. What it does is it'll pull in the data. And you just select your runway 35, and I'm going to get the METAR, which is the weather. It's dry. I'm not going to have the anti-ice on, so keep that off. My takeoff weight, again, it's all on my plan. In tons is 65.5 tons. Takeoff centre of gravity is standard. I'm going to have a flex takeoff. I'm going to have config 2, so flaps to 2. Air conditioning will be off. Interestingly, because of COVID, some airlines actually insist that it stays on to circulate the air, but we're going to have it off. And then hit calculate. And what that does is it actually gives you accurate VR V1, V2 speeds, which you then use to put into Microsoft Flight Simulator. So, flaps, as I said, flaps 2. I'm going to put up 0.0. Again, there are calculators you can get for this, but this seems to work for me. Let's have a look. Temperature 68 degrees. Now, transition altitude. Let's come back to transition altitude. We'll get that from the chart. Let's just look at our thrust reduction and engine out. Again, all on the chart. So 1148. So 1,148 feet thrust reduction. So 1148. 1148 /1148. And then, oh, hello. Okay, didn't like that. Let's see what happens. I think it's recalculating it, but never mind, it's close. And then 142 for V1, 142 for VR, which is rotate, that's when you take off. And then 143 means that's the point of no return. You have to take off, you've got to go, and you'll have to dump fuel before you come back. So 142, 143. 142, 142, and then 143. Now you can let Microsoft do this, but it's not accurate. So to expect £4.95. I'll put a link in the description. It's worth it. It just gives you more accurate V speeds and performance information. Okay. Charts. So we're going to be on the EGPH U2 Delta. I'm just going to scroll in. Our transition altitude is at the top here, which is 7,000 feet, which is already programmed in, so we're fine on that. Let me just make this a bit bigger for you guys. So we'll take off runway 35 up to Edinburgh. Before we'll take a left turn on 259. We've got to be maximum 250 knots. Interestingly, there doesn't seem to be any height restrictions, so I think we're all right. Okay, and then left, and we come back down south to Gizuk, Bravo Romeo 822 before we take a right turn down to Epotty, and then we will be climbing out over the North Sea on our way into Edinburgh Airport, which isn't the brightest. It's a bit dull, I have to say. So we'll be coming in through cloud. Let me just make that a bit smaller. Okay, that's out the way. Performance page. Initiation page. I think we're done on the MCDU for now. Just double check everything. ATSU, AOC, WB, weights and balances. What we should have done is done this earlier because it does take a while, but it's fine. Send the request. It tells us that we got 169 passengers today, and I'm going to start loading them. While we're loading, let's have a look. Is Bergen still online? ATIS is, so 125250. So what we're going to do is tune the radios to 125250.
View at 1,600 feet, scattered at 3,500 feet. Temperature 6, 2.1. QNH 1018. Nozick. Remark, wind 1,200 feet 330 degrees 24 knots. This is Fulfland Information Zulu. Come 1820 Zulu. Expect ILS Whiskey approach. Runway and use 35. Runway condition damp. Transition level 80. For clearance and startup, contact Polaris Control 121.55. Wind 330 degrees 18 knots. Visibility 10 kilometers, or more. Clouds. View at 1,600 feet, scattered at 3,500 feet. Temperature 6, 2.1. QNH 1018. Nozick. Remark, wind 1,200 feet 3.
Okay, so that was the ATIS, and what that's telling us is runway 35. Transition altitude is actually 8,000, but we've got to contact Polaris for clearance on 121.55, which we'll do in a minute. So I'm just going to go back into the performance page. That transition altitude, it's saying it's 8,000. So what that means is, as we climb above 8,000 feet, we can change our QNH to standard by pulling it. The QNH is the atmospheric pressure, which is really important in terms of measuring how high you are. So it's it helps and supports the altimeter. Without that, we've got problems. So it's really, really important that we get that right. So let's set our initial altitude of, I'm going to set it to 6,000 feet. We may get vectored higher than that by Polaris. Does tend to happen, I have to say. And I'm going to turn on automatic wind shear, just turn on the weather and the scanning, and we'll call up in a second for our clearance. So Polaris control is 121.550. Oh.
Polaris, Scandinavian 4146, request clearance to level of at flight level 310.
Okay, 4146, so just up down flight level 310, and you are cleared Nelsu to Mike arrival for runway 27.
Flight level 310 and cleared Nelsu to Mike to runway 27, Scandinavian 4146.
Okay, so what we'll do now is we will call up Polaris and get our clearance. Just let me... Polaris control, okay. Just bear with Flesland. Polaris control, Speedbird 74 Bravo, stand 26 at Flesland, requesting IFR clearance to Edinburgh. Information Zulu, QNH 1018.
Speedbird 74 Bravo, Polaris, good evening. You're cleared to Edinburgh. We are at 2 Delta departure. Runway 35, climb 6,000 feet, that's squawk 1222.
Yeah, cleared to Edinburgh via the Uputu Delta, climb 6,000 feet, squawk 1222, Speedbird 74 Bravo.
Speedbird 74 Bravo, read that correct.
Okay, so we've now got our clearance. What we've got to do is just...
Restart 37 Golf, clear direct Roxim.
Just going to change our squawk. There we go. So our squawk has now changed to 122. Now what that is each aircraft will have its own unique number and identifier, so that air traffic control can actually just keep tabs where everybody is and keep them spaced out. so we don't have any accidents. So we're just going to have a look outside a second. Is there anybody else? We've got company next to us, British Airways, we've got Ryanair. I've got one coming in by the look. Yep. Yeah, it's a Scandinavian. So I think we will end up taxiing down here. So I'm just going to sort out the taxi before we do anything. So I've got a little tool, pushback, pre-planned pushback. When it works, this is absolutely brilliant, this piece of software. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to scroll out. I think, I don't want to scroll that far. I've got a feeling we're going to go way this way. Right, that's us. Believe it or not, that was it. That was it planned. So we just finish our loading.
Requesting descent, Green Star 37 Golf.
Green Star 37 Golf, descend flight level 120.
Descend flight level 120, Green Star 37 Golf.
So you'll have to excuse, we will end up...
770, contact Oslo approach, 120.45.
124.45 speed, 770. Goodbye.
Frequency 120.45.
Tell you what, I'll just go on to Unicom for a minute or two just so we can, while we get ready. So we will get a lot of traffic because Polaris is covering quite a big area. And it's busy in Edinburgh as well, so it could be an interesting approach. So let's just, so we're almost there, 83, halfway there, and we can get going. So while we wait, let's get the lights on. Let's get the strobe lights on, nav lights on. We won't put any of the other lights because we'll blind people if we do that. And when we start the engine, you must enter APU bleed. You click the APU bleed before you start the engine. Otherwise the engine just will not start. Really important, and something I kept forgetting every time. And we should have quite a nice flight out over the North Sea. The sun setting, we'll be chasing the sun. So I've got the scenery for Edinburgh, so it should be, hopefully we'll get there before it gets dark. Let's have another look. So let's ground services. Come on, let's get the passengers. There you go. Look, just to make it look properly. The baggage is all on. If we come back out, look, there you can see connecting, and that noise you can hear is the APU, which is this engine here. So what's interesting is when you go to an airport and you're coming out to your plane and you hear that noise that you think is the engine, it actually isn't. It's the auxiliary power unit, the APU, that's powering the plane. And it's that when you disconnect from the ground power, you're able to start the engine. Just thought for a second that wasn't started, but I think it is. Can't be too far off. Yeah, 106, we're getting there slowly but surely. What I am also going to do is on the ECAM, I'm going to put the fuel page up just so we can keep an eye on the fuel. We've got 5,900 kilograms or 5.9 tons, but it's just worth keeping your eye on it. I have had one accident coming back from Iceland, coming out Keflavik, when I ran out and I ended up gliding down and landing somewhere in the Highlands. So you do need to be a little bit careful. So something else to note, when we get going, the ECAM, what you're looking for is all green. If you've got all green, it means that you're set to take off, and I'll show you that as we go. If you got nothing, if you get blue, it means there's a message you need to do something, and you can't take off unless you clear those blues. Could be dangerous if you did. So anything blue in here means you've got to do something. So if it said seatbelts and it was blue, it means turn them on. You haven't turned the seatbelt sign on. Really, really important. Right, where are we up to? It's always those at the front. We're getting there. We are getting there. Today's cruise level, flight level 380. I've got a feeling we're going to end up with a direct routing as well, so just keep our eye on the charts. So if I just show you this chart here, you can see there we are, stand 26. We'll push back probably onto whiskey. I would imagine we'll come down to whiskey, and I think probably hotel, Alpha 8, and we'll take off that way. That's what I'm expecting, but we'll see, it can change. And the parking stands, we are here 26. So whiskey all the way down, hotel, Alpha 8, and then off is what I'm expecting. Doesn't mean to say it will happen, but that's what I'm expecting, so fingers crossed. How are we getting on? Must be close. I want to start pushing back soon, otherwise we're going to be late. Oh, come on, front rows. Oh, okay. I'm just going to, in a second, flick back to Polaris because we will need to talk to them. Since it's Polaris that's online, they're the ones that are going to give us our permissions this evening. By the look, we've only got ATIS in Bergen, but Polaris cover quite a long way. So if you can see that, so here is Bergen and Polaris all the way up to here. But as you can see, Edinburgh approach is online and ground. So we will probably, as we're getting closer, going through this horrible weather, which is moving this way, we'll probably get vectored around it, I would imagine, before we're going to come around and come in on a 06 approach. I think that's what I'm expecting. Right, must be almost there. We do get told on the fly-by-wire, it's quite clever. You get told boarding is completed. And when we do that, yeah, almost there, look. So I'm going to lock the door. The noise will go, so that's us locked in, ready. Oh, beautiful evening. Come on, these last passengers, look. Almost. You're guaranteed these will be the 9 that have forgot to get the shopping running down through the terminal building. Or they've gone to the wrong gate at the other end. Guaranteed. Here we go. Come on. Last two, come on, and we can get rid of the gangway. Last 4, sorry, last 3, can't count. Almost there. Last 1, really? Takes this long? Here we go, boarding completed. Right, thank you. Let's move the passenger gateway out, and you'll see this will start to move out of the way in a second. There you go. Okay, so let's go back to what we're going to do now is go to Polaris and ask for permission to push back. Polaris Speedbird 74 Bravo, gate 26 at Flesland, requesting push and start. Oh, interesting. Interesting. 121.5. He's not online. And I've tuned in. Bear with. That's interesting. 121.550. I've got the right one. 121.55. Guess what? He's gone offline. So we'll go back to Unicom. That's fine. Fleston traffic, Speedbird 74 Bravo, gate 26, push and start. Okay, so let's request our push and start. Just going to check there is nobody else. Oh, there's one come in. No, doesn't look to be. We're all right. Okay, so really important. APU bleed. Let's turn the that. We don't need external power. We turn that off. APU bleed is on. Really important. Can't start the engines without it.
Okay, sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed, and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
We are cleared for start and push.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Okay. So, parking brake will release.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback.
Put that TRRA. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll show you. I've actually got a throttle quadrant, but you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to turn the ignition start. Remember, I've turned the APU bleed on. There's engine 2. If we go to the ECAM, you'll see starting to go up here, and then N1 figure should start to rise to about 19%. Once it gets to 19, we'll then start number 2. Just make sure we do get pushed back to the right place. Yep. Yeah, it looks good. You know what's going to happen here. We'll probably just take off and Polaris will come back on. Always the way. Oh, that looks good push and start. That looks a good push and start. Perfect, look at that. As I say, this pushback, it's on flightsim.to. Can be a bit hit and miss. Right, this came available. I'm going to start number 2.
You may disconnect.
Okay, sir. Cleared to disconnect. Pin has been removed. See you at the side.
And number 2 is now.
In position, waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
You can see number 2 engine is now kicking in, and that will be available soon. When it is, I'll turn everything off up top. Meanwhile, I'm going to turn on the runway lights, wing lights, nose to taxi. We will have a hold. We'll hold it. Where will we hold? Alpha 8. But once that's available, it's going to be a beautiful takeoff. This going to be beautiful. I'd say this is the development version of Fly By Wire. So it's got the latest VNAV. Works really, really well. I'm really impressed with it. Really impressed with it. So let's get, once that's available, which it now is, it comes up avail. Let's go up top. Oops. turn off APU, and we're good to go. Let's do a cabin call. Right. Just checking that nobody's come online. It doesn't look as though they have, so I think we're all right. So, parking brake off. I'll just give it a little bit of power just to get us going. And there you go. And we're going down whiskey all the way to the end. Actually, we're looking for hotel because I don't need the full. I could go down to Yankee and Alpha 9, which is the full length of the runway, but I don't need to. Flesland traffic, Speedbird 74 Bravo, taxiing Whiskey Alpha 8. Should have done that before we set off, really, but never mind. There we go. You can even see the reflection of the sun. It's brilliant. So the next one is us. Got thin air on the ground there, look. And I think that's a Polish lot in front of us. And an Air France. A320s. Yeah. That one's actually looks like it is getting ready to go, the lot. Here we go, just have a quick check to the right. Nothing coming, no, whoops. And we're going to hold Alpha 8. Okay, there we go. Now remember I was saying about the eCam. At the minute I've got blues, so I need to arm my spoilers, which I shall do now. I'll set my flaps to 2, which I could have done, to be fair, on the way down. Auto brake is set to maximum, which is now set. And the takeoff config button is here. This is the bit I kept missing when I first started. I couldn't figure out, but if you press that button, everything goes to normal. And we're ready. Just going to do a quick check on SimAware just to make sure nobody is approaching. Which they're not, it's just me. So. Flesland traffic, Speedbird 74 Bravo, lining up, runway 35. There's nothing coming from the left, so we're okay. And the minute we're up, we'll go to autopilot. And that should, because it's in managed mode, take us to 6,000 feet before we climb to our cruising altitude. And here we go. Let's line up. Watching for our V speeds. Just using a bit of the rudder. V1. Rotate. And we're up. Positive rate, gear up. Autopilot on. Turn off auto brakes. Let's have a bit of a clean up. I think we're there, and we go. That's it. Auto thrust set. Just climbing out in front, and we should start to turn. There's two in front of us, but they're way up above us. Our cruising altitude today is 38,000 feet. Look at this, look at those views. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. So any moment now we should start our right turn. It's quite surprising actually how long the track is. Looks like it's about 11.3 miles before turns. There we go, 6,000 feet. And what you'll find in a minute is we start to take a left turn. That's the auto thrust you can hear getting louder. Here we go, we're just coming up to Edinburgh, which is our first waypoint. Left turn, heading 259 degrees for 5.5 miles. Here we go. All the while our speed's been managed for us by the plane because of the MCDU, this is what we've put into the MCDU. Look at that, mountains in the background, beautiful. Right, we're on our way. Just going to show you quickly. If I just bring in here, that's where we are currently. Just heading to Bravo Romeo 821 before we take our left turn, heading 173 degrees to Gisuk. Then we're at Gisuk to Bravo Romeo 822 before we take a right turn to Apotu and then we'll start our climb out. We'll probably start our climb at Jusuk, to be honest. Okay. So flight level 380. I think what we'll do is we'll start our climb. Flight level 380. If there were any restrictions, the MCDU would actually stop. It wouldn't go beyond them. So we know we're okay. We're not restricted. Ooh, overspeed. Flaps were up. There we go. I didn't clean the flaps. All sorted. Yeah, you have got to watch that as you take off. Don't forget to retract the flaps as you start to speed up. Otherwise, you're in danger of stalling. So as we pass through 8,000 feet, we can now turn the Q&H to standard. As views go, that's not bad at all, is it? That's not bad at all. Yeah, this is us making our right turn now towards Epotu, heading 2390 degrees. Okay, so we're back in the cockpit. I just wanted to show you a few things regarding Navigraph and some of the things that the MCDU can do. So if we look at our charts, and we are on the PTH star coming in, the PTH 1 Golf star. So you can see it, there are no restrictions until we get to Grice, where we've got a maximum of 250 feet. But by Stira, we've got to be at flight level 700, so 7,000 feet. We cannot be above, we cannot be below. We know our cruising altitude is flight level 330 or 33,000 feet, so we can use that information in the flight pad. It's got a clever little calculator to tell us how far before we need to start our descent. So if we go to the calculator, if we put in here 33,000 feet, and in target altitude, let's put our 7,000 feet, it tells us that we need to start our descent about 82 nautical miles before the target. Add a bit more just to be safe, so if we call it 95 nautical miles. Really important. What we can then do is go into the MCDU and use what we call fixes. So if we click on the line next to the top waypoint, we will then get fix info. Now we need to know what the fix was called. The fix is Stira. So fix info, let's put Stira, put next to it. I get a choice. I can either put a radial or a radius, and we want to use the radius, and we said 95 nautical miles. Now what that will do, if we give it a second, because I'm normally a bit too keen on this, if we change our rows to our plan mode, there we go. Now, and if we just scroll through all of our waypoints, it's not there yet, it will be, it'll come, because I saw the line coming. The line there, not sure what that is. Just noticed this the other day, it did start taking a long time before it started showing. Let's just go back. There it is. There it is. So if I... there you go. So the blue circle. And what that's telling me is when we get to this blue circle on our plan, we need to start our descent to ensure that by Stira we're at 7,000 feet. And that's really important, because after 7,000 feet into the ILS, we have to capture the glide slope at 4,000, and if we're much higher than the 7,000 feet, we're not going to capture the glide slope, and unfortunately that's a go around. And if we need to go around, we've got to climb 3,000 feet ahead, and then we'll be directed. I fully expect to get vectors, because at the minute Edinburgh radar is still on, so we've still got Edinburgh approach. So we'll wait and see what happens as we get closer. So that's just a quick and easy way to help yourself when it comes to actually planning your descent. I think eventually there will be a top of descent marker and calculator on the navigation display, but it's not ready yet. Also, to help you, on the FCU you have these buttons that are the same on both sides, the pilot and first officer side, and the CSTR is constraint, and if you click that it will show all of the constraints on your navigation display. So it will show speed constraints as well as height constraints. Just really useful tool to use. You can also have waypoints, VORs, NDBs, and if you click you get all the airports, but of course over the North Sea there's not that many. So let's just enjoy the views. estimated time of arrival is 2019 Zulu time, so about 50 minutes. It's only a short hop. And we are actually chasing a Ryanair. He is quicker than us at the moment, so once we get up to cruising altitude we'll probably pick up a bit of speed and catch him up. Although he is cruising at the same speed same height we are, so interesting. Yeah, the Edinburgh weather's quite clear at the moment, but there is nasty weather just north of Perth. Just as we come onto the star, there's a lot of rain by the look and cloud, so I'm expecting to see a bit of rain on our descent into Edinburgh. So we're approaching the our cruise altitude, slowing down the rate of climb. I'll be at flight level 380. Which obviously means got to change this. 97 nautical miles. So let's go 110. Let's go and change the marker. My fault. So let's go back in, get the top one. You always know it's the top because the second is in white. That's where you're heading to. So if I click Apotu, go to the fix info, and all I need to do is change this. Go 110, but the chances are we're probably going to get vectored in altitude if Edinburgh approach stays online. It is still there at the minute, so I don't know if any of you have seen this at map.vatsim.net, and it's a full map of who's online around the world on Vatsim, and at the minute that's us up there following the Ryanair, tracking down before we come into Perth, and we'll come round and into Edinburgh. Now the useful thing about this website is if you haven't got the radio and you can't get ATIS, if you just hover over Edinburgh, you get the ATIS information there, which at the minute is Echo, which was 1850 Zulu time. It's probably going to change shortly to Foxtrot, but so we'll just keep our eye on it. And this is that weather front I was talking about moving, so we just got to be mindful of that. But it's very busy in Edinburgh, and they're still using runway 06. I'm always a bit cagey about that because I got caught out once where I was heading for runway 24, and as I got closer it changed to 06, so I made the changes and it changed back to 24, so I was going to the wrong runway. So you've got to always keep your eye out on the ATIS. I'll show you in a second how to program the MCDU for your approach phase, another really important page that you must be comfortable with, because it's the information that the plane needs to make a safe landing, and you need as well. So I'm just making a note of some of the ATIS information, and what we'll do, we go into the performance page. We don't want to activate approach phase just yet. We go forward to approach phase. This page here is really important. You've got to get the information in, and this is where the ATIS from Edinburgh information comes from. So at the moment the QNH in Edinburgh is 1023. The temperature is 9 degrees. Wind is 06 degrees at 9 knots, and again I just keep checking this as I go, and the transition altitude is 7,000 feet. Now the radio and the barrow control your call outs. That's your decision heights. If you can't see the runway at these heights, you have to perform a go around. We get those from our charts on Navigraph. So if we come down here to Navigraph, Cat 2, which is what we'll be doing today, the decision altitude is 210 feet. I suspect we'll be able to see the runway no problems today, but at that height you have to make your decision whether you're going to go ahead with the landing or not. If you can't see the runway, you must go perform a go around and follow the instructions at the top, climbing straight 3,000 feet then as directed. So 210, really important. So let's go ahead, put 210, and we put that into our radio, and that's going to give us our call outs. So you'll hear 100 above when we're at 310 feet, and at 210 feet you'll hear minimums, and you have to make the decision whether you're continuing or not. And the Fly By Wire team have coded this so that you will hear that, you'll hear the call outs. But as I say, that changes, so you do have to keep your eye on it, and it's already changed. So we're now on information Foxtrot. Okay, so it's just a QNH change, so we'll just come back. It is a bit soon, but I just like to be prepared, because if we're going to get vectored in, it's going to be busy down there. So the things that are likely to change are the QNH, the temperature, and the wind and the direction of the wind. The transition altitude isn't likely to change, nor is the radio, because that's coming straight from your charts. So looks okay at the minute. And Edinburgh approach has gone offline, so it looks like it's just ground that's going to be on, which is 121.750. So we don't call ground up until we're physically on the ground and we've landed. So we'll be vectoring ourselves in unless somebody comes back online. Stunning sunset though, absolutely stunning. Look at that for a view. There's worse offices in the world, isn't there? God. And one of the other things to always keep your eye on is your fuel. So we're already with fuel on board 4.3 tons, which should be enough. But as I say, I have run out once. I mean, you can cheat on this. The beauty of it, you use the pad. You can refuel mid-air. very unrealistic, so try not to do it. But if you're getting into a situation where you've miscalculated, you're running out of fuel, just go into the fly pad, change your fuel settings and then refuel. It'll give you enough to get back down and get back down safely.
Also, one more reminder to please refrain from congregating with the front galley when the flight deck door is located. Thank you.
Forgot the lights. So normally the lights will stay on until 10,000 feet, then you can turn them off. Turn the seat belts off. Again, 10,000 feet is normally where you would do it. As you can see, just coming into view is our arc, but it's a good, what's that, 160 miles away. So let's go to 10 miles and then I'll change the first officers just so I can see. Right. Just leave you for a couple of minutes to enjoy the view. Okay, so let's just check the flight plan. Expected to be on the ground at 2021 and current time is 1941, so about 40 minutes. It's likely to be a bit longer. We have got a bit of a tailwind at the moment, but by the time we slow down and start vectoring, I think it's probably going to be close to about half past, but we'll see. Yeah. There's a lot of activity. I don't like the look of that. So if you look on map.vatsim.net, there's a lot of planes there. And there's one that's just taken off the wrong direction. Interesting. Ooh, it's busy. Hopefully by the time we get close it's quieting down a little bit. There's the Ryanair's in front of us, so we're on Unicom. We should hear any call outs that he's got, but at the minute it is very, very busy. Arrivals and takeoffs. Ooh. thing I would say is don't let it put you off. You know, everyone's in the same boat. Long as you communicate on Unicom, everyone knows what you're doing, and if you need to, just go into a hold. And there are holds on our. If you look on ours, we've got hold over stirrer. So we've got a right hold, which is a 4 nautical mile track hold, a maximum 230 knots, and a maximum of 140, and a minimum of 70, which is obviously the minimum height at stirrer. So if you need to, just go into the hold, give people a bit of time just to give some clearance, just as long as you announce what you're doing. Or I mean, if it's ATC's on, it's fine, because ATC will vector you around the traffic anyway, and may even vector you into the hold. The beauty of the fly-by-wire on the developer version is the holds are built in, so it's really simple to do a hold. In fact, if I just give you, I'm not going to hold, but I'll show you very quickly. If I was to pick the waypoint I want to hold at, so if I wanted to hold at Glesk, click the key, click hold, and I can do, if it's a right turn, but I can just press L for left turn and put it in, and then insert. And what it will do is it will actually put the hold in. I've just got to erase that. It will put the hold in for you, and the aircraft will fly that hold, so you don't have to. And then just to come out of it, you just put leave. There's a button. You just go back into your hold, exit hold, and away you go. Back on track. So our arrival times come down. It's 2016 Zulu, as you'll be able to see. That is because of this tailwind that we've got behind us. I think it's about 43 knots. Yeah, if you look, see the tailwind there, 273 degrees at 43 knots. So pushing us along quite nicely. Or is it coming? Oh, is that coming across us? Or is it going that way? That's a really good question. Anybody know the answer to that? Put it in the comments. Does that mean it's blowing towards them, which means it's a tailwind, or is it coming from? Either way, we're speeding up, so I think it's actually a headwind, not a tailwind. As I say, still learning together. So we're about midway over the North Sea. We've got Aberdeen just ahead of us. Probably, I'd say a good 150 nautical miles ahead. Well, maybe not. I mean, we've got 210 nautical miles to go. So yeah, no, I'd say about 100 nautical miles away is Aberdeen. Straight ahead. So it won't be too long before we start our initial descent onto the star at Perth. PTG 1G arrival. And it is an ILS approach we're going to be doing today. If those ILS instrument landing system. That's what brings you down. Once you capture the glide slope, it will bring you down automatically, and can, in certain circumstances, perform an automatic landing, so you don't have to worry. Just going to have a look outside. Let's take a look. Beautiful. A bit noisy from the back. I've got the dirt. Yeah, interesting. So somewhere in front of us is a Ryanair. And it's slowing down. So that's doing 327 knots. We're doing 413, although it looks like he started his descent. He's going into Aberdeen, that's why. The livery that I've got on here, the British Airways dirty livery, there's two of them actually, free from flightsim.to. Download them, unzip them, and just extract them straight to your community folder, and they just work when you go in before you start a flight. Select fly by wire, select livery, and then you choose the livery that you'd like. There's hundreds to choose from. flightsim.to. Most are free as well, which is even better. Oh, it's busy. Oh, it's busy. and that weather front's moving further north, so the minute it's just sitting over Perth, so we're probably going to get wet on our descent. If you have a look, there's our marker for starting to our descent. So it's about, I'd say 45 miles away, and then we'll start descending. Flight level 7,000. So we'll announce our intentions, and then we'll start to descend. So that by the time we get through Perth down to Grice, it should be a comfortable glide down. It's a long way down from 38,000 feet, that's for sure. Yeah, we're making good time. Still, estimated time of arrival 2016 Zulu, which is about 21 minutes from now. As I say, it's probably going to be a little bit later than that by the time we've slowed down for the star and the final approach. Stuck with the constraints. We've got a few speed constraints. So yeah, 250, 230, and then we'll start to slow down as we hit the glide slope for our landing speed, which today, if we look at the performance page, go to the approach phase, landing speed will be 125 knots. So interesting. Full flaps 145. It's a full flap landing. It's a wet runway today, so the question is, probably need max auto brakes on. Let's just have a look at the runway length. Well, I don't know, it's a long old runway, 2,558 metres. Yeah, I think we'll probably, just to be safe, we'll have max auto brake on, and then aim to park probably on the main apron if we can, stand 8 or 9 if they're available, and I would imagine we'll probably come off Delta and then work our way down Alpha, Foxtrot 1, Foxtrot, and in, I imagine, but can change. If you look, there we are at the moment, heading in to just over Aberdeen, down to Naxhill, and the start of our star at Perth. An approach ILS final. There you go. That's the route we're going to take. That's the route we'll take. So steerer, left turn onto final approach, capture the glide slope and in. Yeah. That cloud is starting to thin a little bit, so quite happy with that. And the Ryanair is actually going into Aberdeen, so we're okay. There is still a lot of arrivals going on down there, you know. Ooh. or there's one that's about the same distance away from us. What's he got to go? 119 miles. What have we got? 137. So he should make it down just before us, but we're going faster. Haha, interesting. Yeah, he should get down before us. He says hopefully. Although we have got Ryanair as well, 149 miles. We've got 129. Again, should get there before him, but who knows? Just got to let them know as we're coming in. That's what Unicom's for. We'll be fine. So if there's any flights you would like to see, any destinations, any airports, just put it in the comments below. Anything in particular you'd like me to show you or do, again, put that in the comments and we'll have a look. Who knows, future videos. Okay, so we've got about 10 miles to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just change my altitude to 7,000 feet. So we're going to ADN next. So there you go. So it's the Aberdeen VOR. Next waypoint is Naxil. Edinburgh traffic, Speedbird 74 Bravo, inbound Naxil, flight level 380, descending, flight level 70. We should, if all things work out as they should, start our descent. There we go. And what that does, by clicking it back up to manage mode, if there are any constraints it will manage it for us, but we will see the plane speed up because of the descent profile we've got. It should be comfortable.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you may have noticed, we have begun our initial descent down to our destination. Now would be a good time to wrap up any business.
Just coming up to the northeast coast of Scotland, Aberdeen straight in front. Look at that, what a sunset. I've got the coast of Scotland just there. And we're going to go through this. It's just light cloud. Still got rain over Perth. Should be okay. As long as we're down at 7,000 feet by Stirra, still on for that. Set that one to 10 miles, so this knob here just changes the distance ahead up to a maximum of 320 nautical miles. I'll keep this one now on 10, and what I've done is I've kept the first officer's side, I've put it to 60 just so I can see that little bit ahead, and when we go into the landing mode I'll actually put the landing system on here so we can see it estimated time of arrival still 2017. It's only about 14 minutes away. So we're actually going to overfly Aberdeen. So any second now we'll be right over the top of Aberdeen. Just do an external view, see if we can see it. On the Aberdeen VOR, there's another plane just down there, look. That's the Ryanair. He's missed his approach. He's going round. And that down there is Aberdeen Airport. So yeah, the Ryanair's missed, it's going round again. Okay. So just overflown Edinburgh, Aberdeen even. Now on our way to Naxhill, where we'll just continue our descent over Perth to Grice, where we must be at Stirra, where we must be at 7,000 feet. So Perth, slow it down at Grice to 250 knots, Stirra 230 knots, 7,000 feet. All being well, we should get there probably just a little bit ahead of schedule actually, in terms of the flight level. Yeah, that thick cloud's still hanging around Perth, but the bad weather's to the west, so we should be okay. We should miss the storm to the west. That's just on this one here. Look. Oops. So as you can see, this is us down to Perth. Here's the storm. The one I'm watching is this one here, Ryanair from Dublin. At the minute that's got 95 nautical miles to go and its speed is 364 knots. We're 391 knots, so we've got 71 nautical miles to go. So just keep my eye on it. Yeah, interesting. I think we're going to get there at the same time, but it is going to be a definite race. Having said that, once we hit the star, we'll be slowing down a little bit anyway, as will he. He's probably more direct than we are. He should be okay. And the reason we've got to be 7,000 feet at Stirrar is so that we can then descend further to capture the glide slope, but it also keeps us out of the way of other traffic who will be coming out of Edinburgh and turning, and they'll be above us, so it just keeps that separation. Again, if you get yourself a Navigraph account, have a look at the charts on Navigraph. It gives you all of the heights, all of the speeds. It's well worth a subscription. Highly recommend it. So still descending, flight level 160 coming up. It's not bad profile. Thrust set to idle, which is good. And again, we've got to remember the transition altitude, but we're now on Golf, so I just need to check that. Information Golf. Winds. So the wind's 080 at 11 knots. Temperature is +9. QNH is now 1024. So again, back into the MCDU. Let's just go performance page. And in here, 1024. Wind is changed. It's 080 at 11 knots. And temperature is +9, so that's the only change. Transition altitude is 7,000, so once we hit 7,000 or below, that's when we change to off standard atmospheric pressure. Off standard here, we turn that off and we set it to 1024. That will give us our correct height. Indicated airspeed, we're at 345 knots. Stunning sunset above the clouds though. It's going to be quite gloomy, I think, on the ground. I have got the Edinburgh pack in my community folder, so the terminal building and the other buildings and taxiways have been done. It does look quite nice at night, especially when you see the Forth Road rail bridge all lit up. And you get a good view of that when you're coming into runway 24. Just heading into Perth. Probably about 60 nautical miles away. No, less. Much less. Starting to level out now. Nose is up. Probably a little bit early, to be fair. Okay, there's another plane just below us. Just gone into the clouds just there. We've still got the east coast to our left. St Andrews probably to our 11 o'clock. And Dundee coming up. So we're below 10,000 feet now, so I'm going to just go and turn seatbelt sign on, all the lights back on. There you go, we've been slowed automatically. How's fuel? Yeah, 3 tons on board, probably overdid the fuel a little bit, but okay. And here we go, we're just on the star, as you can see, just about to head over Perth. Edinburgh traffic, Speedbird 74 Bravo, inbound Grice on the PTH1 Golf, arrival, flight level 70. Yeah, that Ryanair's getting close. I think we should just beat him. Should just beat him. I'm not sure what that was. And here's that weather I was talking about.
Yep, bust off.
So we need to then descend after Stira to 4,000 feet in order for us to catch a glide slope. So let's just program that ready. Standard pressure, which is 1024. QNH of 1024. I'm just going to check that, make sure there's been no changes while we've been chatting. No, information Golf 1024.
Edinburgh traffic, Golf Oscar Papa Mike Alpha has vacated 065 Charlie.
Oh, what's going on? Why are we not at 7,000 feet?
Papa Mike Alpha taxiing to stand 200 via Papa and Alpha.
Just get ourselves down to 7,000 feet. There we go.
X-ray until 558, Avro Vulcan about to enter runway 06 for Edinburgh.
Edinburgh to sit Avro Vulcan.
Yes.
Lovely.
It's close. It is a race, a genuine race here. So 250 knots by Grice. We've slowed down nicely.
Edinburgh traffic, Golf West, Papa Mike, Alpha has reached 200, stepping down.
The steerer just in front of us.
Which is a left on Papa and right on Alpha. Edinburgh Vulcan has just departed from 06 at Edinburgh. Those manoeuvres are very dodgy.
So some dodgy manoeuvres going on. Yeah.
X-ray until 58, clear runway 06. In a fashion normal descent.
There you can see estimated time of arrival 2024.
Copy, you might go off Mike Alpha, we have taken 200.
In the Vulcan.
201 at about
Wow.
10-15 meters to my right hand side.
Here's the coming through. Horrible. Four 4,000 feet, and we should start slowing. Yep.
Lovely, lovely. Hopefully if he's missing a face. I said, how would the ground crew mind if they won't be alive? For me, your propeller is inside one of the marshals.
So let's go landing. Let's performance. Activate the land approach phase. Confirm. There it all is. We've got two inbound, about the same distance.
Traffic 777 is on the island for runway 06, Edinburgh traffic.
Traffic line at 81. 20 mile final.
Just need to keep an eye where he is. Got two of them. Turn on the approach phase. It is going to be pea soup. As we come out of it, flaps 1. Speed brake armed. Slowly coming down. Flaps 2. I think we're going to see this late. Ugh. Where's this other chap? I think we could be performing a go around. Edinburgh traffic, Speedbird 74 Bravo, 12 mile final.
Edinburgh traffic, Ryanair 814 is on an 11 mile final, so the Speedbird behind, but be a bit careful.
Can't see him. It's not on the TCAS. Flaps 3. Who's going to get there first? I genuinely can't see him. I stay in front, that's okay. Flaps full, spoilers armed, established on the ILS I hope.
Traffic, Ryanair 814, fine, final, runway 3, Edinburgh.
Edinburgh traffic, Speedbird 74 Bravo, established on the ILS. 10 mile final. So you can see he's just in front of us. Hopefully he will vacate at just the right time.
2,500.
Set medium. That's interesting. Ground spoilers armed, seatbelt sign on, lights on.
814 landing onto the skyways, runway 3, Edinburgh. All yours, 6 Gary 777 English traffic.
And Edinburgh's gone offline now anyway, so we're on our own.
Edinburgh traffic, taxi into Terminal 1 via Charlie, Alpha Foxtrot, Gary 817, Edinburgh traffic.
So, cabin checked. Landing gear down.
Only just got down there with that vacate.
I think he's cleared and he's off. 2 red, 2 white, the Pappy lights. So we're on a good glide. So Ryanair ahead of us, so should have vacated. Here we go. Coming down nicely. Set our go around height 3000. There we go. Edinburgh traffic, Speedbird 74 Bravo, short final. Oh.
1000.
Edinburgh traffic, Speedbird 74 Bravo, short final. Two red, two white. Can't see the others. Not going to worry about that too much. Slight headwind. 10 knots. Looking good. Auto brake set. It's looking good.
$500. $400. $100 above. $300. Minimum.
Continue.
200.
Just little adjustments.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
Ooh. That was a bit heavy. Edinburgh traffic, Speedbird 74 Bravo, vacated runway 06 at Delta. Okay, so we're gonna go Alpha Foxtrot 1 and probably park and stand 8, so Edinburgh traffic, Speedbird 74 Bravo, taxiing via Delta and Foxtrot 1, Foxtrot. Okay, here we go. So we're cleaned up, just got our lights on for our nose, just for taxiing really, just so we can see where we're going. I don't think there was anybody following us in, I think we were the last ones. Bit of a heavy landing. These airport traffic cars, honestly, it'll brake in front of me in a minute as well. It'll stop. Oh no, speeding up. No, there you go, look. There you go. Honestly. So just taxiing down to Foxtrot 1. Next turning is us. And via Foxtrot. We'll see if gate 8 is open. There we go. There's 8. There is one following us in. And there's a fuel truck on it. Look at that. Look at that. Oh well. It's about to go bang.
Glasgow traffic, EG685 downwind from the 75, expecting ILS 75 in about 5 minutes.
Let's have a look. Yeah, okay. What we should have done before we turned in was actually turn the nose light off, just so that we don't blind anybody coming in, so we can turn our nav lights off. I think that's it. We're stand 8. Got KLM in there. There is a Ryanair here somewhere. Europa. Not sure what that is, but as you can see, it's well modelled. If I just go back in, and let's go to the pad. Let's get the services. Let's get the passengers off. And as you can see, it moves quite nicely. Open the door. Get the baggage out. If we come, fuel truck's decided to finally move. The baggage is waiting to go in. The door will open in a second. Down here, I'm not quite sure what's going on with that fuel truck. Never mind. One of the quirks. And that's it. We're down. Welcome to Edinburgh. If you enjoyed that, don't forget like and subscribe, and leave any comments or questions that you want in the comment section below. Till next time, thank you. Bye bye.